I believe 9.7 is the limit on what human beings can do. Somehow Usain Bolt broke the sound barrier. Like somehow he figured out how to get past that limit. But there's a reason nobody's gone faster than 9.76 since he left. Nobody.
Yeah.
So we just got to
Yeah.
get those other times out your mind right now. Nobody runs that.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, in my head, I actually really agree with you, but nobody else really thinks like that. I feel like so it's
Yeah.
hard because like you talk about like the comments and stuff, and like
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of negativity because of like what they did, and a lot of them,
You mean what he
yeah,
did?
I'm not gonna say that, but um, yeah, people aren't running that fast this like right now. But I think
No.
9.7 is really impressive. Like what they did at the Olympics this year,
Oh yeah.
that's pretty close to like
Yeah.
the peak of
I
what
Yeah.
mean,
humans
Fred said
was.
they could have went faster.
You think?
That's what he says. I mean, you were there. You were in the stadium. You tell because he said they held them a long time.
They did. They held him. There was like apparently someone ran on the track. So they held him. It was actually a good like 4 minutes of like when they were just standing there on the line before they actually said on your marks. So it was like something crazy. So, but I think they could have gone a little bit faster, maybe like 9.76, but I don't think anyone was running 9.6. Like,
No.
I don't think anyone was running 9.6.
But that's what people expect, and that's the problem. And that's why I'm like, we, we got to get away from the clock where I'm going Dominic Toretto on this. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, a win is a win. And when the sport can get there, where it's about winning, you feel me? Like the same
Yep.
way Mr. Beast and them showed up and did their thing with, with Noah and, I show
Mm.
speed. If I fly out to Iowa, Coach Rob, all 30 years old plus of me, and I race against Kalen, and we gonna do 50 meters. It don't matter if he get me by an inch or by a mile, because I ain't getting you at this stage. And I know you, and unfortunately, I picked the best starter in college, and I said it myself. So I know I'm shooting myself in the foot here. That said, a win is a win. It don't matter
Yeah.
if at 50 I make it look interesting.
That's what Patrick Mahomes does right now. He just barely beats everybody. They have a perfect record now. He just barely beats these like, and they're not even like the best teams either. Like he's barely beating like the Raiders and like the Chargers. It's a win's a win at
I
that
got
point.
so here's the question for you then. Which is scarier? For Usain Bolt to be running away from you while you going as fast as you possibly can, or for Noah Lyles to sneak past you at the line while you do the exact same thing.
Oh, probably Usain Bolt for sure.
Really?
I Oh, 100%. Like, because there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I remember, so actually, core memory for me, 2 years ago, this is when I first got to Iowa, and I was running like 6.6s still and stuff. And I had ran, this is like my first like big time race. Uh, it was at Arkansas in the indoor season. I raced against Mackay, and that was the first time I actually raced anybody like world class. Like before that, it was just like the home meets, just like, some D2s, D3s, maybe like Wisconsin send some guys or whatever. But then here was like the first time I actually raced like some really good athletes. And I remember I ran like 6.74s. It was like my worst race of the year. And I just remember Mackay ran like 6.48 and just was pulling away from me. There's absolutely nothing I could do about it. And it felt like it was in slow motion. And it's just he was so much faster than me at the time.
I mean,
I,
you're describing me
it's
in every
crazy.
final ever made.
What do you say?
You're describing my career in every final ever made in
Yeah.
D1. Like
Isn't that
I
crazy
was
though?
good
Like
enough
there's
to sneak
absolutely
in a
nothing you can
final,
do at
and
that
then
point.
people do that to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I say sneak in. I was always like seventh, eighth seed, be all the way on the outside. And you know how
At least
that
you made the
joint look
final
like
though.
this?
All right.
I bet there
Still
are
made
some
the
people that
final.
are praying just to get in that final.
Oh yeah, but see, I did what I like, and I didn't. I also was always the guy. I was either sneaking in or I was ninth.
Right.
That was me.
Well, like, I mean, speaking of that, because now I'm remembering as you were talking about it. Yeah, you ran like 6.4. That was like one of the best times or whatever at the point. But like now at Olympic trials, like you ran against like Christian. I think Christian Coleman was in your semi, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what was? I mean, he went kind of crazy in that race
That
too.
was a
But like,
9.8,
what?
right? That
I
was a
I think
think
nine
s-
eight. It was a 9.8 low, right?
I don't
9.8
think
mid, something like
did
that.
he? I don't
I th-
I don't know. It
Because he
was
ran
in the
what?
final.
Because his final he didn't run what he
Really?
had the fastest time in the
in the
semis
I
of
think it
the
was like
semis.
slot.
9-9 something. I don't think it was 9-8.
Oh,
But yeah, I don't know. I was completely. I mean, I showed up. I had just got off of like a grade 3 hamstring tear. I had like 1 week of practice before that. So I mean, I wasn't like too pressed over. Like I wasn't really like in it at any point. I was trying to like make it to the semifinals and just like experience it at that point.
I
And
mean, I was surprised when I heard you was running because I thought that you had missed. Like, did you even run Big Tens?
I did run Big Ten. Yeah, it
No,
was
you
like
did run Big Tens, right? You
so I
did.
ran in the prelims and I made the final, and then I ran the 4x1. I tore my hamstring in the 4x1, and then
mm.
I finished the leg and we won, which was cool. But then from there, I had a grade 3 hamstring tear, which is like the worst grade of hamstring tear. Like it's the worst severity without like completely tearing it in half. Um, and then I went and ran the final the next day, just ran through it. Um, I ran like 10-2 or something. It's
Yeah, you
honestly
got you got a
probably
medal, right?
yeah, like that's probably one of the most like I don't want to like be cocky or like have an ego or anything, but that's probably one of the most impressive things I've ever done. Because I had that hamstring tear. I knew I had a hamstring tear going into it, and I still laid down a 10-2 and got a medal, put some points on the boards for the team, and you know, it was a significant injury though. They were saying I was going to be out for like 8 to 12 weeks. Like there was no shot like I was going to be able to run Olympic trials. I don't know. I guess I just rehabbed really hard and I ate really well in that like 5 weeks, 6 weeks that I had, and they cleared me. I got them to. I had to like convince them to give me another ultrasound to clear me because they were like, "Oh, dude, you just take your time and just let's get back next season." I was like,
But
"Oh,
they didn't understand that there's no they probably weren't critically thinking that like
yeah,
for the purpose because I mean the life of a sprinter, you know what I mean? Like only the strong survive. We were even just talking like if we was gonna make this thing work with the fans, it's gonna have to be super cutthroat. But
I
like
know,
there'll
yeah,
be so much money at the top in terms of like, okay, like if you get there. So the Olympic trials, if it's there, like I honestly I think especially for phenoms, you got to be born in the right year. Real
oh
talk.
yeah." Right now, it's so competitive.
Like you
Right
got
now,
like if you the worst year you can be born in, I'd say like where like because okay, like if you're let's say you're a high school senior
yeah,
and then like that's your Olympic year. So imagine if you're the class after them. So like your junior
Mm.
year of high school, then you're still in college, then you're multiple years out from college.
yeah. That's kind of where I'm at too. Like the next Olympics, I'm gonna be like 26. I'm gonna be like right in my peak,
Mm.
right in my prime. That's when I'm really gonna go for it.
My name is Anderson from The Final Leg.
And I'm Coach Rob from SCA Track and Field. And thank you for watching this segment from the finish line.
If you want to know what's really going on at the high school and college level, be sure to subscribe to Coach Rob Track and Field.
And if you want more content on the best track and field athletes in the world, be sure to subscribe to The Final Leg.